Court is now in session to hear the case of energy expenditure versus fatigue, determining responsibility for exercise performance decline. The prosecution will argue that energy expenditure is the primary cause of performance decline, while the defense will argue that fatigue is responsible. Prosecution, you may now proceed with your opening statement.
Your Honor, our goal is to prove that energy expenditure is the main culprit of exercise performance decline. The depletion of glycogen storage, reliance on less efficient energy systems, and the inability to sustain ATP production directly leads to the decrease in performance. Fatigue is merely a side effect of this energy crisis.
Your Honor, we will demonstrate fatigue, not energy expenditure, is the key factor behind performance decline. Muscle soreness, neuromuscular inefficiency, and central nervous system fatigue are independent processes that occur even with adequate energy stores. Fatigue undermines performance long before energy is completely exhausted.
Thank you, prosecution and defense, for your opening statements. The court will now proceed with the presentation of evidence. Prosecution, you may now present your evidence and call your first witness for consideration.
Your Honor, we present Exhibit A, a study showing the depletion of glycogen storage during prolonged exercise. The data reveals that athletes experience a sharp performance drop when glycogen levels fall below 50% of their original capacity. I call Dr. Sadowski to the stand.
Please place your hand on the textbook. Do you swear that you will tell the truth and nothing but the truth?
I swear that the testimony I shall give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Dr. Sadowski, can you explain the role of the energy system in exercise and how their limitations impact performance?
Of course, the body relies on three main energy systems: the ATP and PCR system for short bursts of energy, the glycolytic system for moderate durations, and then the oxidative system for sustained activity. As energy is being used up due to exercise, the body is depleting the available glycogen, which is the primary source of ATP production. This leads to muscle having reduced ability to generate the necessary energy for muscle contractions. This causes fatigue and a decreased ability to perform the exercise.
And what happens when glycogen is completely depleted?
The body experiences hitting the wall feeling, where the energy demand exceeds the supply, which causes a significant drop in the performance of the individual.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Defense, you may now cross-examine the witness.
Dr. Sadowski, isn't it true that athletes can experience muscle fatigue even when their glycogen that is stored is not fully depleted?
Yes, but this is usually a secondary factor compared to energy depletion.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Defense, you may now present your data and call your witness.
Your Honor, we now present Exhibit B, data showing the impact of lactic acid buildup on muscle function. The graph that is shown demonstrates the increased acidity reduces the muscle's ability to contract efficiently, leading to fatigue. I call Dr. Harrison to the stand.
Dr. Harrison, please place your hand on the textbook. Do you swear that you will tell the truth and nothing but the truth?
I swear that the testimony I shall give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
We shall get started.
Dr. Harrison, can you please explain how lactic acid and other fatigue mechanisms affect performance?
Yes, during high-intensity exercise, the body shifts to anaerobic metabolism, producing lactic acid as a byproduct. This ultimately causes a drop in pH levels, which inhibits enzyme function and reduces the muscle's ability to contract effectively. Neuromuscular fatigue also plays a role, as the communication between the brain and muscles becomes less efficient over time.
Would you say that these effects are independent of energy availability?
Yes, fatigue can set in even if there is a suitable amount of energy left, especially in the case of elongated or high-intensity activities.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Prosecution, you may now cross-examine.
Dr. Harrison, isn't it true that fatigue mechanisms are exacerbated when the energy storage is low?
Yes, but they are not solely dependent on energy levels.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, prosecution and defense. The court will now proceed. Prosecution, you may call your final witness.
Your Honor, we call our final witness, a nutritionist, Dr. Jefferson, to discuss the role of dietary intake in preventing performance decline.
Dr. Jefferson, please place your hand on the textbook. Do you swear that you will tell the truth and nothing but the truth?
I swear that the testimony I shall give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Dr. Jefferson, would you please explain this process?
Adequate carbohydrate intake before and during exercise ensures that glycogen stores are maintained, reducing the risk of energy depletion and subsequent performance decline.
Thank you, Dr. Jefferson. No further questions, Your Honor.
Your Honor, may I cross-examine the witness?
You may proceed.
Dr. Jefferson, in your professional experience, can proper carbohydrate intake prevent all instances of performance decline?
No, it cannot. But I would like to make it clear that even with optimal carbohydrate intake, other factors such as fatigue and neuromuscular inefficiency can still impair the performance of the individual.
No further questions. Thank you. Your Honor, I now call the athlete Travis Kelsey to the stand for first-hand experience with fatigue.
Travis Kelsey, please place your hand on the textbook. Do you swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth?
I swear that the testimony I shall give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Mr. Kelsey, please share your experience with fatigue.
During long practices and games, I often feel my muscles burn and my legs grow heavy, even if I've eaten enough beforehand. That feeling of exhaustion is what slows me down. It definitely is not because my girlfriend Taylor added pressure onto my games and stats because all of her fans became mine.
Objection! Your Honor, how is Miss Taylor relevant?
Order! Order! Sustained. Mr. Kelsey, please only relay information that directly relates to your experience with fatigue and energy expenditure.
Yes, Your Honor. My apologies.
Defense, any further questions?
No further questions, Your Honor.
Prosecution, you may now cross-examine.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Kelsey, you mentioned that eating enough before your games and practices. Could it be that your feelings of exhaustion happen during the moments of insufficient carbohydrate replenishment mid-practice or mid-game?
I suppose it is possible, but from my experience, I have noticed that fatigue, even in shorter events where energy isn't as depleted.
Thank you, Mr. Kelsey. No further questions, Your Honor.
We have now reached the end of the trial. Prosecution and defense, you both have presented compelling evidence, and this court will weigh those arguments carefully. Prosecution, you may now proceed with your closing statement.
Your Honor, the evidence clearly shows that energy expenditure is the primary factor behind performance decline. Glycogen depletion and the inefficiencies of alternative energy systems are critical. Without sufficient energy, fatigue is inevitable and secondary in its effects.
Thank you, prosecution. Defense, you may now proceed.
Your Honor, we have proven that fatigue undermines performance through mechanisms independent of energy availability. Muscle inefficiency, lactic acid buildup, and central nervous system fatigue occurs regardless of glycogen levels and are often the more immediate limiting factors.
After reviewing the evidence and testimonies, this court finds in favor of the prosecution. While fatigue undeniably contributes to performance decline, the foundation of sustained performance lies in energy available. Glycogen depletion and inefficient energy production directly compromise the body's ability to meet the demands of exercise, making energy expenditure the primary factor. However, this case underlines the importance of managing both energy storage and fatigue to optimize athletic performance. Let this ruling guide coaches, athletes, and medical professionals to develop strategies that address these critical aspects of performance.
Is your finger in the way?
One more time.
You may proceed.
Because my girlfriend Taylor
What is your name again? Dietitian?
during long practice.
Travis Kelsey, will you?
The truth and
We used to call them like the Kansas City chefs, so. Funny. After reviewing, okay, I'm not ready.